Now at 5, new details just in after a deadly domestic incident at a Hopkins home daycare with children inside.
Tonight, what we know about the victims and how neighbors are responding to the tragedy.
How can something this crazy happen in such a calm neighborhood?
Plus, a St. Paul man now charged in the incident that led to a police shooting outside Regions Hospital. The huge wins in the Minnesota primary election and what to expect as we look to November.
And the Minneapolis mayor unveils his plan to close the city's massive budget gap, and homeowners likely won't be happy. The news starts now.
As we come on the air, some shocking new details in a double murder at a home daycare in Hopkins. In the last hour, police confirmed that a 41-year-old man stabbed his 41-year-old wife and their 7-year-old daughter to death before shooting and killing himself. We also learned that police believe a different deadly stabbing reported in Burnsville is connected. This is a live look at that scene on the right side of your screen. Police tell us the victim there, a 78-year-old woman, is a close family relative to that suspect in Hopkins. Thanks for joining us here at 5 on air and streaming. I'm Rena Sarjanopoulos.
And I'm Lauren Lemanchek. Now, this was a horrifying scene in Hopkins. 6 other kids were inside the home daycare when police arrived. And police say it was a parent dropping off their child this morning that reported what happened. At
this hour, investigators are still piecing together the details that led to all of this. And right now, they do not have a timeline of what happened between the murder in Burnsville and those in Hopkins, which are some 21 miles apart. We do have extensive team coverage tonight, beginning with Jennifer Hoff with more on that connection between these two cities. Jennifer?
Well, Rena, and as you say, there just isn't a lot of information about that right now. I did try and press the chiefs to lay out a timeline on what exactly happened between Hopkins and Burnsville, but they said they are so deep in this investigation right now that they simply could not give any specific details on exactly how all of this specifically unfolded. But they will say that the 78-year-old woman who was found dead in Burnsville was likely killed before the tragedy unfolded here in Hopkins. And more on the Burnsville situation, the chiefs did confirm that, as you mentioned, the woman dead in Burnsville is a close family relative of the people involved in that murder-suicide in Hopkins, and again would not say anything beyond that, as more of that information will have to come from the medical examiner. And again, she was 78 years old. He also said that his officers didn't have any contact with the man who they say killed himself in Hopkins before that. The chief, though, stressing, just like the one in Hopkins has, is that there is no public safety threat in Burnsville either.
We believe it is a close family relative of the suspect in Hopkins. The deceased was a female, age 78. The suspect, we believe, had been recently living in that residence in Burnsville. Based on work between our officers and investigators with the Hopkins Police Department, we believe this tragedy and the tragedy in Hopkins are linked.
What's more, the chiefs are calling this, of course, a domestic incident, but they also said that there is no law enforcement contact at the daycare here in Hopkins, as well as with the man that they say killed himself, his wife, and his daughter. And that, of course, leads them to believe, too, at this point, that they just don't have any details on a motive, on what the heck could have led up to all of this, which is just leading to several communities here reeling. You mentioned earlier in this newscast here about people just heartbroken. That's really putting it lightly here. The chiefs really just saying, hug your family members tonight. And I think that's a good thing to keep in mind. Back to you.
It was a very emotional news conference. Jennifer, thank you.
Well, on that note, we want to bring in Morgan Wolf now, who is taking a closer look at what unfolded this morning in the Hopkins neighborhood. Morgan?
Yes, when I first got to scene, I saw some parents being escorted away from the scene by law enforcement, clutching their children as young as, I would guess, 2 years old, and just fear painted across their face.
This is just a tragic situation anywhere in the world, let alone here in Hopkins.
The same walls that once sheltered young children now the scene of a murder-suicide.
Hennepin County Sheriff wants you to stage on the north end.
There's 3 deceased individuals in the house and all believed to be related.
Police say that a man stabbed a woman and a 7-year-old girl inside Brown Bear Daycare this morning, then took his own life.
It's believed to be the daycare owners.
6 other children were inside the home at the time, and police say a parent dropping their child off witnessed the attack and called 911.
I mean, there's no worse scenario than this, where you drop off your child to somewhere you think is safe and you get that phone call.
KARE 11 found the daycare record showing that it first opened in 2019 and has been in compliance with the state this year.
We are all reeling with this information.
After violence struck a home that was once a safe haven for children.
The initial officers on scene, this was a tragic situation for them as well, and I could see on the look on their faces that this was one of those ones that you'll remember throughout your entire career, if not life.
Certainly a tragedy that's going to be sticking with a lot of people. Police are still notifying family members of the victims involved, and they have not released their identities yet, but they said that they'll be releasing that information in the days to come. Back to you.
All right, Morgan, thank you.
Yeah, and that entire neighborhood is really still grappling with what happened and remembering the victims. Our Sammy Salinas spoke with neighbors and continues our team coverage tonight. Sammy?
Yeah, neighbors tell me that the daycare residence that all of this happened with is right over there. This is where investigators have been going in and out of. This angle is a little hard to see, but if you can't tell, that's a garage with a mural painted over it, and that is where I'm told the daycare is. Now, when I first arrived on scene, I saw one of those families that Morgan was talking about, a mother with 2 little kids and a firefighter walking them to her car. I asked her if she was okay. She said, absolutely not. And it's difficult to imagine what that mom, what those kids are going through tonight. And that is the question on everyone's minds in the neighborhood. So we talked with a number of folks here today. They told me that they counted 25 police cars shortly after this happened. One man said a police officer told him to get back inside for safety reasons. A few folks witnessed families leaving with their children from the scene. Police say 6 other kids were inside the daycare and residence when this happened.
I'm just hoping that the children are okay, because I know it's a daycare. I've been working here for 4 years, so I just hope the kids are okay.
Completely shocking. Holding my kids super, super close and just trying to do what I can as a mom to keep them safe and be as involved as I can in where they're at and who they're with. But obviously you never know.
Now, another woman who I talked with, she at this time did not have the emotional capacity to be on camera, but she did tell me about that 7-year-old little girl who was stabbed to death. She says that she was shy, but she was very sweet. She wore pigtails in her hair, and she loved to pet the neighborhood dogs, and that she was going to start 1st grade. Lauren.
Sammy, it is just too tragic to really even think about, and people bring up those other kids. You do just feel for them and their families tonight. Thank you. Well, a reminder, if you or someone you know is struggling or in trouble, there are resources available. The number for Minnesota Day 1 Crisis Line is on your screen. It's available 24/7 if you need help. That service is completely free and interpreters are available.
A St. Paul man is facing charges tonight stemming from a domestic dispute that led to a police shooting outside of Regions Hospital. According to the criminal complaint, the victim was staying at Tayshawn Brown Roberts' apartment, but a no-contact order against him bans any contact with her. Prosecutors say the victim unintentionally touched Brown Roberts with her hand, and he allegedly responded by punching her twice in the head and then threatening her with a knife before leaving the apartment. Police tracked him a few blocks away outside Regions Hospital, where court documents allege that Brown Roberts pointed a, quote, replica handgun at police before a St. Paul officer shot and injured him. Those documents also show that in an interview with police, Brown Roberts said he had hoped he would die.
To the election now, and some history made at the primary polls here in Minnesota. The Secretary of State's office says, according to unofficial results, more than 1.1 million Minnesotans cast ballots in the primary, which is about a quarter of eligible voters. It's also the first time more than 1 million votes have been cast in a Minnesota primary. The previous high was a little more than 925,000, set back in 2018.
Another first, Minnesota's poised to have its first woman serving as governor. Senator Amy Klobuchar decisively won the DFL primary, as expected, of course. And House Speaker Lisa Demuth won the Republican nomination, beating challengers Mike Lindell and Kendall Qualls. Klobuchar and Demuth will now square off in November. And fresh off their wins, we're hearing from Klobuchar and Demuth about the road ahead. Chief Political Reporter Danny Spiewak here with that side of the story. Danny?
Rena, the Minnesota governor's race is a matchup of two very high-profile public officials, Minnesota's senior senator Amy Klobuchar and the state's top elected Republican in House Speaker Lisa Demuth. With the primary behind them, both candidates are now pivoting to the general election in November. Klobuchar says she's running on a pro-growth economic platform with an emphasis on bringing down health care costs and transforming state government. She argues that she's the best candidate to tackle fraud, given her experience previously as the Hennepin County attorney. But Demuth will make fraud a central part of her campaign. She argues that any DFL candidate is an extension of the Wells administration. She says she'll fight to lower taxes and enact conservative priorities like she's done in the legislature.
From the beginning, I have been running not just a Democrat campaign, because I don't think I want to steer the state left and I don't want to steer the state right. I want to steer the state forward.
This is Minnesota's comeback. This is our opportunity to turn our state around finally, get us back on the right track, make us stronger and better, ending the fraud, accountability that starts at the very top.
A KARE 11 Star Tribune University of Minnesota poll this summer shows Klobuchar as the frontrunner in the race with extremely high name recognition. But that same poll also showed Demuth in the strongest position of any of those Republican candidates. And then, of course, she ended up winning the primary. That poll had her within single digits of Klobuchar. So it's obviously very early and a lot can change between now and November.
All right, Danny, thank you. Well, we're also hearing for the first time from the two candidates who will now square off in the Hennepin County attorney's race. Cedric Frazier and Anders Folk are seeking to replace Mary Moriarty, who is not running for re-election. Lou Raguse sat down with both of them today and joins us now. Lou?
Lauren, the top two vote getters in the primary now go head-to-head in November's general election. State Representative Cedric Frazier is now the front runner after getting 31,000 more votes than former acting U.S. Attorney Anders Folk. The two candidates are both licensed attorneys, but have very different professional backgrounds. Frazier has experience as a public defender, an attorney for Minneapolis Public Schools and Education Minnesota, and as a state lawmaker. Folk has experience as a federal prosecutor, then leading the U.S. Attorney's Office for 8 months during the Biden administration before Andy Lugar was appointed.
My resume is much broader, and through all of those, through over that decade of experience as an elected and almost 20 years as a practicing attorney, I've built relationships that are solid and that are enduring and will be helpful in being successful in this role.
I'm somebody who's been a career prosecutor. I've done the hard work in the trenches. I know how difficult these cases are and how to build them the right way, and he has never done that work. And I've led a public law office at the U.S. Attorney's Office in Minnesota in the Biden administration, and again, I know how to do this work. He's never had that experience.
This race, of course, coming as Hennepin County Attorney Mary Moriarty choosing not to run for a second term. I asked these candidates how they differ from her and the way that she has run the office the last 4 years. So much more on that coming up on Breaking the News at 6:30.
All right, be interesting to hear, Lou. Thank you. Still ahead here at 5, a massive budget shortfall in Minneapolis, and the plan revealed today that could raise your property taxes.
Plus, the major development underway in the North Metro, bringing a pro baseball stadium to Blaine. But first, let's check in with John Ziegler.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a hot day today, high 80s here, but it's been quiet, and it's going to be mainly quiet here tonight. Now, we'll see temperatures cool off into the 70s. Clouds increase because, well, there's actually be some storms out to our west, but yes, they're going to be evaporating or disintegrating by the time they get to the Twin Cities. Doesn't mean we won't see a few showers tomorrow morning. We'll track it out after this.